Is it a Jeep? Is it a Land Rover? No, it's a GWM Tank 300. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Four Wheels in the Seat. My name is Alex Dalrymple and you found your way to my channel where I review new cars every week, especially for people who might need a new car and don't know which way to turn. I can help you out with an easy to understand review. But you don't want to miss an episode, of course, so please do hit the subscribe button down below, the notification bell, and if you enjoy the video, give me a like. If going off-road and climbing up the side of mountains is your thing, then you are spoiled for choice with the likes of Toyota, Mitsubishi, Nissan and Ford all doing fantastic off-road vehicles. And now GWM wants a piece of that action. And what's more is they'll give it to you at a fraction of the price. So it's hard to deny that the look of this car has been influenced by the Jeep Wrangler. I mean, the two cars look very similar from just about every angle, and that's also evident here at the front where we've got big round headlights, although I like what they've done here with the driving lights, incorporating them into the light clusters, and these also do double duty as turn indicators. So as you can see, the car rides up really high too. I'm 190 centimeters tall and it's pretty much about the same height. Roof rack's up on top here, there's a sunroof as well, plus we've got off-road rubber wrapping the 18-inch alloy wheels. One big difference between this car and the Wrangler, of course, is that the Wrangler's doors are removable with a bit of work. These ones are permanently bolted into place. Back here, big spare tyre on the tailgate, some good looking light clusters, and behind the big door here we've got a 400 litre storage space. You can lower the rear seats for a bit of extra room. There is also a 220 volt power outlet allowing you to plug in any domestic device. Under the bonnet, and I was a bit surprised by what I found, a very dirty engine bay. The outside of this car is so clean, but obviously someone's been for a bit of a swim, I think. This is a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine that outputs 162 kilowatts and 380 newton meters of torque. Brake towing capacity comes in at 2,500 kilograms. Power goes to all four wheels. It's four-wheel drive, but when you're on tarmac, you'd just want to use two at the back. Fuel economy is a not very frugal 9.5 litres per 100 kilometres on a combined cycle. So far so good, but as we move inside there are a few areas for improvement. Sure, we've got nice soft touch up here on top of the dash with stitching, but as we move down things get a bit plasticky, and that's not out of the ordinary. Most cars do use a lot of plastic on their interiors these days, but this particular type of plastic just feels a bit cheap and sounds a bit hollow to the touch. And while there seems to be a fair bit of leather in here, it's actually not real leather, it's faux Napa leather. But having said that, it's very hard to tell the difference. Like a lot of new cars, the center console screen and the digital instrument cluster have been joined together in one single display, and it looks really good. The center console screen is 12.3 inches, has a nice sharp picture, but the software on it leaves a bit to be desired. There are menus hiding basic functions within other menus. It's quite tricky to navigate, and there's also weirdly about 3 different ways you can turn on the seat heating and steering wheel heating, for example. You know, just one place to find it would probably do. It's a bit of a mess. There's also no native navigation, no digital radio, and no wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. 2 big Mercedes-Benz style air vents here with an analog clock in the middle, surrounded by some shortcuts for the climate control and seat heating. We've got more shortcuts for climate control underneath that, plus USB-A and USB-C ports and a 12-volt outlet. Wireless charging for your phone. Then here on the lower console we've got loads of drive mode controls for front diff lock, rear diff lock, hill descent control, the selector as to whether or not you want the car in 2-wheel drive, 4 high or 4 low, and then the gear shifter, which wouldn't look out of place on a 1990s video arcade machine. I really like this. It has such a sort of nice aircraft feel to it. It's a lot of fun to use. Up in front of the driver, the digital instrument cluster has the same sort of theme as the center console screen. It's pretty good actually though, I do like this one. It's sort of similar to what I've seen in some of the electric Hyundais, to be honest. Steering wheel feels good too. It has a faux Napa leather wrap. The seats are faux nappa leather as well, and they're very comfortable actually. They're heated, cooled, as well as a massage function for the driver, plus 8 ways of electric adjustment. The front passenger also has electric adjustment as well. And the seating position here in the cabin is really nice and high actually. And I don't mean high as in sitting high within the cockpit. I mean just seeing out over everything. The view is brilliant, right to the front corners of the bonnet and in every direction. In fact, it's really, really good. In fact, while you're driving this car, you do feel like you're higher than if on the road. Now, if there's one thing in this car that is a bit of a deal breaker for me, it's the way this indicator stalk works. Now, it's on the right-hand side, so that's a good start, but like some cars, it doesn't actually lock into position when you turn it on or off. It just kind of flicks back up into the middle, and that's fine. So if you just tap it gently, it'll flash 3 times, which is what you do when you're changing lanes, for example. And if you push it a bit harder, it sort of locks into position and will turn the indicator on as if, you know, you're turning left at the lights or something like that. The problem is, unless you use the exactly precise amount of force, the car gets it wrong. So it'll end up staying on when you only want it to flash 3 times. And then when you try to cancel it by turning it to the right, it then puts the right indicator on. And then you've got to cancel that by turning the left one on. And this can go on for ages. And it is actually a little bit dangerous because it is confusing the hell out of all the drivers around you who don't know what you're about to do. So that's not a great feature, something that really needs to be improved. Okay, time now for my genuine first time sitting in the back of the GWM Tank 300. And first thing I've noticed is that the headrest is digging right into my back. So we'll just lift that up, and that's much better. Okay, loads of knee room. I'm behind my own seating position. I'm 190 centimeters tall, nowhere near the seat in front. Loads of toe room, loads of headroom. This is really good. Seats comfortable. Again, that faux nappa leather finish, and it's also here on the doors as well with quilting. It's on the front doors too. I forgot to mention it before. Also, another feature, LED strip lights all through the cabin, and these actually change color. It's like a rainbow effect. So all the time while you're driving, the colors are changing. I really like it actually. Armrest here with cup holders, 2 air vents, 2 USB ports. They are USB-A ports. So yeah, backseat passengers I think be pretty comfortable back here in the Tank 300. So this is not a review of this car's off-road capability because that's not really my thing. I don't really do that. There are people who do it much better than I do. And if you want to go and check that out elsewhere, go for your life. Believe me, I won't be offended. But I can tell you what this car is like to live with for a week driving around the city. And the short answer is really good. I'm not usually the biggest fan of ladder frame 4-wheel drives because in my experience, the ones that I've driven have all been really uncomfortable on city roads. They kind of rock and roll around. I mean, their suspension is built to go off-road, but the GWM Tank 300 doesn't really do that very much. Now, look, I've not taken it off-road. I don't know what its off-road capability is like, but from what I've seen on other videos, it's really, really good. They've done such a good job with the suspension that it's actually really comfortable to drive around town. I did not enjoy driving the Toyota Fortuner around the city. It rocked and rolled all over the place and had this weird thing where it did lane keep assist by slowing down one of the wheels, forcing the car to turn back in the lane, and it kind of felt like the car was skidding on ice. We've got none of that here, and this is a really easy, comfortable car to drive. It feels more like a regular urban SUV. And this car also has plenty of go. Now, it's only got a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo engine. Most 4-wheel drives come with at least a 6-cylinder engine and probably closer to 2.5 or 3 litres in capacity. But this car really flies along the road, especially since it weighs 2.5 tons. Now look, the downside of having a smaller engine that's less powerful means that you can't tow as much. You're only able to tow 2.5 tons braked towing in this car. But if you don't tow stuff and you want to go off-road, then does that really matter? Now this is an example of what I was talking about with the indicator. Okay, it's stuck on left at the moment. If I try and nudge it over to right, now the right indicator's stuck on, so I'm pushing it back to the left, then finally it cancels. But I feel sorry for all the other cars around me who just would have had no idea what I was about to do just then. Is the GWM Tank 300 a turnback car? A car so good looking that you have to turn back and look at it? Well, I have to say in the week I've had this car, and I'm sure it's not just because of its bright orange paint job, it has been getting quite a few looks. That could be because people are looking at it and going, hang on, is that a Jeep or a Land Rover Discovery? And then having another look and going, oh no, it isn't, but what is it? So it is eye-catching, most definitely. And you know, it's a good looking car. So yes, I would say it's turnback worthy. So out of the several GWM cars I've driven, the Haval Jolion, the H6, the H6 GT, I would say that definitely the Tank 300 is by some distance the best. Oh great, here I am on my way to return this car after having it a week, and I've only just now figured out how to turn the seat massage on. This would have been really nice to have. There's a little button hidden away down here with the seat controls. I really like the GWM Tank 300. It was a nice surprise, especially after the disappointment of the Haval Jolion. But I think it's only about 90% of the way to being a great car. They just need to fix up the quality of the interior plastics and work on the center console screen software a bit, and then I think it'll be there. But at around $50,000, it is undeniably great value. So if you're in the market for something like this, please take one of these for a test drive.